How can you have consistent visual branding at your church? Let's talk about it today. Hey, ministry leader, welcome to this last episode of the season of Your Visuals Matter. We've been wrestling with how to move from ready-made to custom visual media at your church or ministry. If you missed any episodes or want to catch up, just go to churchvisuals.com/training, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for all episodes of this show. Plus, we have multiple shows on our platform, including the Kids Church Visual Show with Shake Mozart, Unboxing Your Series Media with Trevor Miller, our Conversation series, and more. Also, I've been thanking Outreach every episode of this season for their sponsorship. Just a great partner that believes in what we're doing at Church Visuals. You can find great digital media content at outreach.com, as well as everything that you need for your printing needs, books, banners, signs, you name it. Outreach.com is where to go for that. All right, on this last episode of the season, where we have talked about how to move from ready-made visuals to custom visuals, I want to end with talking about how to bring it all together. So we've talked to several churches and ministries about how they are creating custom graphics and video content, either in-house or using a team like Church Visuals. So how do we ensure that we have a consistent brand across all of our visuals, across all of our church? How do we make sure that everything feels tight and cohesive instead of disjointed? How do we have consistent visual branding at our church or ministry? We're jumping into all that and more this week. Hey guys, I want to let you know about a great new resource from our friends at Outreach. The new invitation station provides your church with an easy way to encourage and equip your members to invite their friends and neighbors to church. The stations include a sleek black metal sign holder stand, an eye-catching 2x3 sign with messages like invite a friend or be the church, and 4 acrylic card holders that you can adhere to the sign and fill with invitation cards, all for only $147. Check them out today at outreach.com/invitation stations. That's outreach.com/invitation stations. Hey guys, this week I welcome my friend Mark MacDonald. Mark is a church branding strategist for Be Known for Something, which is a national church communication and branding agency. He coaches pastors and churches. He's a popular podcast guest and speaker at conferences. My very good friend, here's Mark MacDonald. So, Mark MacDonald, so this interview was scheduled to happen 30 minutes ago, but we just cannot stop talking to even stop to do an interview. I mean, that's how good friends we are.
I tell you, every time that we ever get together, it's like an hour goes by, and then we go, "Oh yeah, what are we going to talk about again?
What were we here for? I forgot." Yeah,
that's
buddy.
Right.
Thanks for being here.
Well, we have this audience that's listening in now, so we have to behave just a little bit more.
A little.
But we've had quite a year.
We've had quite a year, both personally and business and culture and the country. It has been quite a few weeks, quite a year. And I want to let people know, first of all, I want to kind of dive into our branding journey, because you helped us tremendously move from 1230 Media to Church Visuals and that rebrand. I want to kind of dissect that a little bit. But first, for folks who don't know you, tell folks about you and Be Known for Something.
So I am friends with Carl Barnhill. That's pretty much all that anyone needs to know.
I don't know. Your reputation will go way downhill if you get that out too much. So,
well, and I can't believe that God allows me to do what I get to do. I started out as a graphic designer. I ended up working for one of Eastern Canada's largest ad agencies, ended up as senior creative director there, We had dozens of people that worked in the creative department there. And what's interesting all the way through that, I just kept thinking, so why does God allow me to do this in the secular world when really it's the church world that needs this? And my wife and I kept praying that God would somehow use what I'm doing there for the kingdom. Ended up having the opportunity to move to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And 23 years ago, we started Be Known for Something, and started working with churches, and ended up starting to get on the national stage, talking to a lot of pastors and ministry leaders and creatives, and just trying to get them to focus on the right things. And it's just been fun watching the entire church branding, church communication industry mature over that period of time. And now there's a whole bunch of ministry leaders that are out there who understand and know the importance and how much visuals matter in the kingdom and in the kingdom work. And it's just been a lot of fun. I ended up writing a book called Be Known for Something. It became an Amazon bestseller, and now live in Jacksonville, Florida, after working with the Florida Baptist Convention. And there are 3,000 churches here. And again, can't believe I'm just this little kid from East Coast Canada.
Yeah, and you and I met probably on the. I think we met on the conference circuit. I was in all of this guy on stage, and how can I be that guy? I think that's how we met, and so got to talking. Couldn't believe that I would meet a celebrity like you. I'm just trying to make your head big, trying to bring the ego out in you, I guess. I'm just
it will never happen, because I can't believe that this is even happening to me. This ride has been crazy. I mean, 38 years doing what I'm doing, and every year it just keeps getting better and better.
Well, man, I've appreciated you over the years, just hanging out and doing some work together at conferences and stuff, and also just friendship. And then last year, beginning of 2023, I was like, let's hire this guy. So we started working together on the rebrand of 1230 Media, and really we kind of started out with how do we go to the next level for our business, for our company, and then that kind of, what do we want to be known for? How do we discover our thread? And then that kind of led to the name change and kind of rebrand. So kind of walk through that process, and maybe your process of how you helped other churches and ministries with that, and then maybe talk about how that started with us.
Well, it's interesting because, first of all, I mean, I think the world of you. I think the world of everything that 1230 Media was doing at the time. And when you called and said, "Hey, would you be interested?" I was like, "Yes, I would love to." And we had a lot of interactions. You are involved in 1230 Media like 100%. I was involved in 1230 Media 2%, maybe 3%. Yep. And the scary thing is that, there's a lot of church leaders who are involved 100% in their church, and they think that their congregation is also involved 100%, but really they're strong supporters, just like I was a strong supporter of you. But those strong supporters are only really touching your brand 2, 3, 4% of the time. That's me being really generous.
Right.
And like, there's a lot of senior pastors that I ask about one of their ministries in the church, and the pastor goes, "You know what? I really don't know." If he doesn't know, then certainly the people in the pew, they just don't know. And right. with our interactions, I'm sure you thought, "Oh my goodness, he knows everything about 1230 Media." No, I stuttered over 1230 Media because he was like, "You're the number person, right? The 1119, no, the 12." And so I I said, yes, I would love to. And I was thinking, how am I going to find the name of the company so I can call it up on the URL? And
Yeah.
that's where a lot of people are with churches, that they don't know everything that you think that they know.
Right.
And it was a great position for us to be able to sit down, and we had what we call the brand retreat, where it was 3 days, right? We did the full 3 days
Very
of
long.
oh, please. But the thing is that we had, like, we weren't talking about renaming at all at that point.
Right.
We were thinking, okay, so what are we known for? And externally, what I thought you were known for and what you thought we were known for, sometimes it just doesn't mesh together. And in that process, when we started talking about, benefits and solutions to needs and concerns and paths to goals and who's the audience and who do you want to talk to, all of that is part of our process. And I kept going and like 12:30, and like I had to keep going back, and finally it was like, I'm not sure whether the name really helps you.
Yeah.
And then you told me the great story of how the name came about, which was news to me. And
Right.
it was, oh, it all makes sense now. But I still, I can't say it the right way.
Right.
And that's when it was, well, what if, and that's what's so great about you. I mean, you're just open to doing what the right thing is. And you just said, so what if we changed our name?
Yeah.
And as we all know, as we look around, everything that, while people are watching this, the name changed.
Right, exactly. And I think as an entrepreneur, if I would have known 10 years ago some of the hurdles that we would have to overcome and some things, in fact, I'm kind of surprised at the success is the wrong word here, of where the Lord took us, even with the obstacle of our name, over, there would have been 8 years, 9 years at this point. And so I think I liked digging in the dirt, and I want people to kind of know this process, to kind of know where we got to and why we got to this. And so yeah, I mean, we knew that 1230 Media was a hard name for people to grasp. We also knew that it was the numbers and letters thing was hard, and I think we absolutely made the right decision to shift the name. But that year of moving from 1230 Media to Church Visuals was very hard at every single level, from URL to decisions to complete website rebuild from scratch. The reasons why we changed our name, spent the money, like all of it, is to serve churches better and to serve ministry leaders better. So one thing that I think that you really helped us do is focus in on what we were wanted to be known for. And so with 1230 Media, the podcast even that I hosted at the time was called Making Sunday Happen. And it was very broad. It was, we help you with your worship experience on Sunday, which was fine, but it was a broader focus than we probably really intended. And so I think the move to Church Visuals really focused us into, we help you visually communicate the gospel. We do your graphics and your video well. That's it. That's what we do.
And anybody who followed that podcast knows that, I mean, it was great content. It is great content, and it's still available on your website, correct?
Yep.
But I love what you just said, and I mean, you're teaching people right now. If you go too broad, oftentimes you end up becoming known for nothing. Right. Where if you focus, and that's why I wore my shirt today, my niche down shirt. It's like, if you focus, you can become known for many, like that like to many people, many
Mm-hmm.
more people about one thing. And the idea of church visuals, I believe that God himself granted that to you.
Yeah. So how did we get to that? Let's go back to that branding retreat. Maybe you can kind of walk through how and in fact, we left that retreat and still weren't set on changing the name. That kind of came a few weeks later, I think. So maybe kind of talk through how we found our thread, and what that thread is, and how that's more focused.
Well, and it's interesting because it was really from your heart, I think that we ended up going down that path. The idea of so who are you trying to help, and you were very clear in the what we call the personas, the stereotypical group of people that you're trying to reach, and I know when we talked, there was two groups of people that there was a little bit of tension over, like, do we talk to this group more or this group more? And ultimately, every church leader who's listening right now needs to know who they're trying to talk to. And while they're trying to talk to them, know that there'll always be a tension, because they're the two typical groups of people that you're trying to talk to is your internal audience and your external audience. And it's like, so which one do we talk to more? Well, I mean, ultimately, you need to talk to both of them, but you need to know where the growth is going to happen. And the growth is going to happen typically to the external audience. For you, it was a different audience, but for the ministry leader who's listening right now, know where the growth potential is and make sure that you're lining your message up to the growth potential, and then lean into them and make sure it's friendly to the other audience.
Good. What are some things that you maybe didn't know about us before coaching us? I know me and you were friends. We had done some things together. But what are some things that you like? Oh, I had no clue that you guys did that, or you. I think you probably realized. Oh, I didn't know that you guys served that client or did that thing. What are some of those things that you discovered in that process?
So, be known for something. We're all about consistency and just trying to get messages lined up, visuals lined up, like all of those things in the consistency world. From an outsider, the emails that I was receiving and the promotional stuff, I guess that I kind of knew that you had in the bag stuff, the stuff that's been created, but I was not fully aware that you were doing custom work as well. And then as I delved into it and tried to figure out more and more, I mean, you guys are doing phenomenal work. And the interesting thing is, sometimes when people buy off the shelf stuff, you have to kind of compromise a little bit, not in quality, but compromise that, it's not our full brand. We oftentimes struggle a little bit with, with stock images. Should churches use stock images? And sometimes it's like, well, you talk to the church communications person and they say, I mean, we just don't have great photography of the people in our church, so we have to use the off the shelf stuff. Mm-hmm. So when we were talking and you were like, oh, no, we do custom work too. And it's just like, and you understand branding and you understand that you can create stuff directly for people, and make it look like the individual church. Like my heart, it was like the Grinch. My heart swelled up. And the thing is that, yes, for some people, the off the shelf stuff is really good. But for a lot of churches, they should be really looking towards that custom work where they can share directly with you, what are our brand standards? What is the brand guide that we rely heavily on? And can you develop some stuff for us in the visual side of things that actually looks like our brand? And I mean, I did not know any of that stuff. And again, it's that whole concept of, oftentimes an organization does far more than what the average person who touches it and sees it on a very small basis will ever know. And that's why churches oftentimes they talk too much and people listen less, where if they just focus in and get somebody interested of, oh man, I'm interested in church visuals, and then it's like, so how do you do church visuals? Then it's just so much easier to say, you know what, your visuals matter so much that we have the off the shelf product, but we also have the custom side.
So you kind of led me into my next question here, and that is the theme of this season of the podcast is how do we move from ready-made to custom? And there's nothing wrong with the ready-made stuff. We feed the beast of our library weekly and are creating this massive library of ready-made content in a multitude of product types for adults, students, and kids. And that content is available on marketplaces, other marketplaces besides our site. So we believe in ready-made, but we also believe in custom. And so moving from ready-made to custom, I think you're hitting on it, is the ready-made is fine and does have its place and can save you tons of time and tons of money and help you visually communicate the gospel. Yes. But the custom stuff really helps you bullseye into your message specifically, whether that's a sermon series, your branding, your signage, your any of that. It helps you really hit the target perfectly to deliver the message that you want to deliver at your church or ministry. So let's speak to that a little bit more. Why should you move from ready-made to custom? Why should you start moving that direction as a church?
Yeah, great question. And I know that churches struggle oftentimes because ready-made is cheaper than custom. But we would say on the branding level, if you're going to become known for something, there's ultimately three things that you need to be known for. So you need to be known for consistency first. And I mean, I say it over and over and over again. I mean, I think it's 1 Corinthians 14 that says, let all things be done decently and in order. Well, in branding, like do it decently in order. So if you can only afford ready-made, try to make it your own. Like just
Right.
do something to make it your own, whether that's, adding a border around it or putting it in a certain shape, or like just control as many things as you possibly can. But that consistency of your brand, it builds trust and familiarity with your audience. So what ends up happening is that trust level just goes up with consistency. So we always want a consistency of threads so that the one big thing that you want to become known for, your visuals matter, is the thing that just works all the time through all of your content. And then plus your fonts and your colors. But it's really about the visual controls of all of your imagery that just needs to be, it's just, you got to lock them down into that one, what we call the brand guide. It's the brand fences that you put on. And the joy of being able to work with a group like Church Visuals is that you can give your brand guide to Church Visuals, and they create things that are locked into your brand guide. And ultimately what that does for you is it pulls the trust level up with your audience so that there's a level of understanding of who you are and what you look like. Your visuals really do matter.
So from a branding perspective, let's talk the branding of a church. And you help a lot of churches and ministries with their visual identity, their branding. Why do your visuals matter when it comes to, let's say and your logo is not your brand, but let's say your logo, your look. Why does high quality matter? Why does the visuals that you're putting out there? Why does that matter when it comes to your church brand?
Well, the number one was be known for consistency, but number two, your visuals matter because you become known for your authenticity, and that sounds like a crazy word to throw in here, but ultimately, I think that the younger the audience, like every church wants to try to figure out how do you attract a younger audience. That younger audience is going to be looking for authenticity, but I also believe that even the boomers and the silents and the people, the older people in your church are looking for that authenticity that comes from visuals. And and your visuals that are wrapped around your church, you just have to they resonate more deeply than anything that you'll ever say. And that means that you need to try as much as possible to use real photos of people. Try to take the step away from the stock and try to become a little bit more authentic. I was talking to a church the other day, and they said, "Yeah, but you haven't seen the people in our church." And it's like, they are you. Like they like
Right.
the if you're inviting people in and you're scared of what you look like how there's going to be a disconnect someplace. So either improve what's going on, and it's hard to tell everybody, hey, we're going to do makeovers for everybody. Uh, you need to authentically present yourself in such a way so that other people who are like them will say, you know what, I could fit in there, and I could fit into those the ministry opportunities that are happening there. Ultimately, Romans 12 says that let love be genuine, and we just have to be genuine with authenticity to be able to make our visuals matter, so that when we push ourselves out through our visuals, people would say, I want to be part of that.
So I want to hit on a couple of things that you mentioned there. One is the editing of stock or ready-made stuff. And we've been very intentional with the ready-made products that we've put out there in that they are Photoshop editable. They are Canva ready, so that you can bring any ministry or social graphic inside of those programs and change out the photo to your photo, or add your photo to it. And so I would absolutely echo that even if you're using a ready-made piece, add your own flair to it, add your own people to it, add your own fonts or colors to it. But yeah,
But there's something as you're talking about that. There's people who are listening right now that are saying, I have no idea how to do that. And
right,
and I know that there's different levels of people and the abilities to be able to do things. And that's why sometimes it's worth paying for the custom made to be able to say, hey, can you help me do this and keep the controls down?
right.
And when you think, yeah, but can our church afford it? Well, the alternative is to hire somebody. And by
Correct.
far, church visuals is cheaper than hiring a new person.
Exactly right. And sometimes we'll talk to people about some big numbers. Our lowest custom plan is $299 right now, and that includes 5 custom graphics plus the entire ready-made library plus a slew of training content to help you with these things that we're talking about. $299 a month.
That is
And
a no-brainer. For
absolutely.
all the people who are listening right now, no-brainer. Like, what can you can't even go out and buy a roast for that anymore.
Or groceries. Right, exactly. So our unlimited graphics is $5.99, and then our unlimited graphics and video is $14.99. So let me talk on the highest end for just a second. So if you're $14.99 a month, which might sound like a crazy high number for some churches, $1,500 a month. If you map that out for a year, you're talking a little bit under $20,000. There is no way, and I'm asking this question to you. You've been in this field longer than me too. There is no way that you're hiring a full-time graphic designer for 20 grand a year. There's also no way that you're hiring not just a video editor, but a motion designer, which we kind of specialize in motion design, plus the ready-made library, plus an entire free training platform to teach you how to do it. I know that 20 grand sounds like a big number, and I'm talking on the high end. I'm not talking on the $299 end. Even the highest end, you speak to that. There's no way you can hire a high-quality graphic designer alone for 20 grand a year. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I don't know whether the people who are listening have gone out shopping for designers lately, and people with motion graphics and the people with all of the skill set that I know your people have at Church Visuals. You can't get people that cheap anymore. And like, that's just talking salary wise. Having to manage these creatives, right? You and I, like, we could commiserate over managing people that are like us. The creatives, because we're hard to manage. Yep. And it opens up a whole new dynamic of discussion to say, okay, so how much does it cost on the HR side of things to manage these people? Make sure that they're all aligned with you doctrinally, make sure that they're aligned with you corporately, like all of those things. It's crazy what you have to pay today. And I know it sounds like we're doing an infomercial for you, but ultimately
not my intention. But I want people to know it's more reachable. And that's why we bring it up, is if you're a church that's thinking, well, ready-made sounds so much cheaper, we'll just do that. You could, yes, and we have that available. But the custom side is more affordable and more reachable to your church than you might think. And I think you have to move. If you want to reach the people that you want to reach, I think you're going to have to move there. Or you're going to – I was shocked. Both of us were at the Southern Baptist Convention a few months ago. And I was shocked with the number of people that I talked to that was kind of blasé about reaching people, reaching their community, or being more innovative to reach their community. And it made me sad in a way, because I'm like, look, you don't have to spend a dime on me or what we're doing, but if you're not using the means to reach the culture in a way that they are used to being reached for the gospel, I think you're missing some big opportunities to grow your church and to reach people. Oh,
for sure. Jesus. For sure. And your visuals matter so incredibly much that, like, invest in being known for consistency, being known for authenticity, but then ultimately be known for just professionalism. I mean, the idea of professionalism and what Church Visuals brings to the table, I mean, there's a value excellence that happens when things get locked down and you start doing things professionally in your ministry. I mean, you need to start investing in good design tools, good resources, and being able to do your work heartily. I think that's what Colossians says, Colossians 3. I mean, your visuals matter to the point where it's night and day whether somebody will listen to the gospel from you versus not listen to the gospel from you. And right now in our world today, that visual wrapper that we put around all of us, whether it's a personal brand or whether it's an organizational brand or a church brand, it's whether people will listen or not. And really what it comes down to is that the world knows that your visuals matter. I mean, look how much commercial brands spend millions and millions of dollars to lock it down. Google knows that visuals matter because, I mean, you'll rank higher if you have professional videos and images on virtually every page of your website. But really, Jesus knew that your visuals matter. I mean, he would create large truths, and then he would switch, like in Matthew 13, how he was talking about, what's the response of hearing the gospel, and and people might understand it, but then he quickly went to the imagery of that, the seeds falling that are on different soils, the rocky, thorny, and good soil. And every person that was listening to him visualized in their minds, because they couldn't take out their cell phones, I don't think, at that point. But we have to make sure that we help people visualize it. And what it does is it locks in the truths that God has for us to be able to share, so that people will start actually listening to us and hearing the gospel through us, because your visuals do matter.
So, right. Are the visuals the Holy Spirit? Are the visuals what save? No. But are they a tool to get people to listen to the gospel and the gospel come alive to them and it be more memorable? Yes. So speaking of the SBC again, I would have people pull up their website so that I could get a sense of their church. And there were a lot of folks that almost didn't want me to pull up their website. Now, what you're going to see is our website is, we haven't, okay, I'll show you. But I mean, it was a lot of that kind of thing. So there was I say that because there was an innate, like, my visuals, they were subconsciously saying that their visuals matter because they were excusing the fact that what I'm about to see is not as high a quality as they probably want it to be. And
if a church is scared about what they look like, and I mean, that can just be walking into your church. If you know that your church smells and you're embarrassed by it, change it. If you look at your visuals and you know, they're subpar, change it for the kingdom. And I realize money comes into this, but that's the joy of being able to use ready-made versus custom. I mean, there's stair-step ways to get there. And I know that you can work with people even that are at the ready-made level where they're like, you know what, I just can't afford custom right now. You all can help, try to direct people. That's what we try to do when we do our church communication coaching with churches. Is we help people say, okay, so what tools are you using? Who do you have in play? What are some of the brand things that we can add to some of the custom and stock stuff that you're using the ready-made and stock stuff that people are using, so that you can make it your own. Just try to lean into making it your own so that people understand, wow, that comes from my church, and it just raises the trust level.
So and we've danced around and said this, but does quality matter? If I'm a pastor and I'm producing my own PowerPoint slides, like, should I give that up? Like, thinking, if I'm not a designer, does the congregation care? Does quality matter when it comes to communicating the gospel?
Yes, and that really is the third point, to be known for professionalism. Do whatever you can do to improve. Like, just constantly be improving. And a lot of times people say, yeah, but I can't afford a designer to do all of my PowerPoints. Like, if I'm doing PowerPoint every Sunday as a pastor, should I hire somebody to do all of that? No, but if you hire a designer or somebody who understands this stuff, they can create some templates, which what you were talking about before, editable files, so that you can start looking the same way every time that you do something. And that in itself, that's a great level to just start at, so that you can create something that you're not recreating every week. And so people just need to lock into that consistency of, is there just one or two colors that we use? Is there just one or two fonts that we use on a regular basis? So that I know the people who are listening, you're going to get tired of it, but the people in your pews touch it so little that they won't get tired of it. And instead, they'll rest in the fact that they know what's coming.
Good. All right, let's kind of put a bow on this entire season. In that we've moved from ready-made to custom. And let's kind of put a bow that your visuals truly matter. And let's circle back to what we were kind of talked about, this branding retreat, this moving from 1230 media to church visuals, and use us as an example. The name mattered, the visuals mattered when it came to us, and we took our own, tried to take our own advice and your advice here of moving to a place where the name is clear, the visuals are clear. And so we want to do that for churches. We want to help churches increase their visual media game. Why? Because the gospel matters. And when we were in that retreat together, one thing that I really got passionate about, and then as the year went by of us having some coaching sessions together, that it's not just looking great for looking great's sake. It's not just entertainment. It's not just for a ministry leader to save time. All those things are great and byproducts of. But where my heart is to help ministry leaders visually communicate the gospel. It's about seeing life change happen and discipleship happen in your church. It's not about the great visual. Look, I own the company of Church Visuals. I think visuals are important, but at the end of the day, it's about you seeing life change and discipleship happen in the life of your people. And can you use visuals to help you get there? You want to speak to that?
I mean, yes, like reverberation across the nation. Yes, like our visuals will get people's attention. Our visuals will keep people's attention, and our visuals will lock in the content and make the understanding of it even deeper. And so, yeah, on the branding side of things, we certainly want you to, control your consistency and your authenticity and your professionalism. But I guess the overarching issue here is that we have to understand how much our visuals matter, and we need to lean into them and make sure that we're doing it the very best way we possibly can. Oftentimes, it's almost become, let's create the outline. Let's create what we're going to talk about. Oh yeah, should we put something, or I don't know, let's just grab some stock images. And Microsoft probably was the reason behind that, where, publisher had this great stock library and people started, well, we just need to make it look fancy around, with stock icons and things like that. Like, just lean into your visuals. Make sure that there's some consistency so that your brand shows through, but make sure that they're authentically connected to the content, and you'll be surprised at how much more your visuals will matter in all of your communications.
Man, appreciate all you've done for our ministry and serving ministry leaders, and to help us get to the point that we are. We're stronger than ever, serving ministry leaders around the world. We just got and just put a post on social media about this huge billboard in Ghana, Africa, that we produced a graphic for, that is reaching people around that area of Ghana. And so literally your visuals matter around the world. And we're seeing it, and it's really incredible to see God move, and you've played a huge part of that. So thank you for that. And tell folks, if people want to experience what we've experienced, moving from 1230 media to church visuals, or need help with their brand, their thread, and how to kind of up their branding game and what they want to be known for, tell folks how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. And I would love to talk to anybody. In fact, if you go to beknownforsomething.com, that's our website. Take a look through it. We have a branding system that's really leans into reliable research, so that we make sure that we do your brand the right way. But if you go to beknownforsomething.com, reachable.com/subscribe. And you can sign up for our weekly email that we send out, and we give some really strong practical tips to make sure that your visuals are being used towards great branding and great communication. And in fact, when you fill out the form, and at the bottom it'll have what conference are you listening to. If you select podcast, I'll send you a few bonuses as well about how you can improve your website and the content of your website, just to make sure that your SEO, that Google becomes your biggest evangelist.
Man, always a pleasure. Love you, buddy. Thank you.
Ministry is hard. As a ministry leader, you wear many hats. You may be a church planter, a senior pastor, a communications director, a worship leader, or all of the above. You may want to visually communicate the gospel in a compelling way to see life change happen in your community. But you may not have the time or creative team to make it happen. We have a heart to help you. We are Church Visuals. We are former church staff members who know the need for high-quality visual media and understand the constraints of your budget and resources. We have a team of incredible graphic designers and video producers that can come alongside you to produce custom graphics and video for your ministry. If you need something quick, we have also built a growing library of 40,000 plus instant downloadable visuals for adult, student, and kids ministries that you can edit and adapt for your church. We're also building a full training platform to show you how to do everything you need to present your visuals in a compelling way. We've impacted over 60,000 churches worldwide, helping them visually communicate the gospel of Jesus Christ. Your visuals matter. We would love to be on mission with you. Find us today at churchvisuals.com.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this season. Like and subscribe for more if you would. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts, courses, and more while you are on our YouTube channel. Or we've laid out all of our training on our website in a very clean way for you to access podcasts, courses, webinars, articles, and more. Just visit churchvisuals.com/training for more free training for your church. All right, as we wrap, here's your last Church Visuals tip of the season. The goal is impact, not flash. We're called to see salvation and discipleship. So let's not be so concerned with how great our media is that we miss the most important thing: seeing life change happen. Seeing people come to Jesus, seeing people growing in their faith. The goal is not to entertain, it's not the flash. Use graphics and video to visually communicate the gospel, the greatest story ever to be told. If you want to reach the people you want to reach for Jesus, your visuals matter. Your Visuals Matter has been a podcast presentation of Church Visuals. Executive produced by Carl Barnhill, edited by AJ Schubert, title and show graphics by Angie Lomas. For more resources to help you visually communicate the gospel, visit churchvisuals.com.